Hey, with this recent drop in the money market fund interest rates, this declining that we've been seeing, are these money market funds still worth it? Should we consider it ama tuoge turudi soko? This is a question in the minds of many out there wondering whether it's still a viable place to put their money in. And in this short video, that is the question that I want to answer. So please stay with me for a very honest opinion. Na pia I will compare the options that are available, what is available in the market. So please don't miss that part. And for those that are new here, please finya that subscribe button, and pia ukilearn something new, don't forget to leave a like and some feedback maybe in the comment section below. So first, before I tell you about the options, let's look at the reasons why you opened a money market fund account or should open one today. And we're going to do this real quick in order to see whether it's still worth it or not. And the first reason was for accumulation. Most of the people with money market funds or interested in opening one got into this situation because they were looking for a safe place to accumulate a portion of the income that they receive or their salaries, with the flexibility that they can access a portion of that money in case they run into an emergency. A money market fund not only gives you this, but it also gives a return on top of what or that money that you have been accumulating. So whether you're going for a goal like raising capital to start a business or just setting aside some money out of your income for purposes of not consuming everything that you earn in order to have one day to have a cushion. So in that case, whether the interest rates dropped or increased, this is still the best available option for you to achieve this particular goal. The next reason why many open a money market fund account is to have a safe place for their emergency fund. This is usually that money that you set aside literally and can only be accessed in case there is an emergency. This is what I recommend, that as soon as you open your account, your money market fund account, or if you already have an opened account, ensure that your first goal, the first goal that you set, is to have an equivalent of 3 to 6 months worth of your total expenses saved in your money market fund account before you start going for anything else. This is usually your first test of freedom, by the way, and should be taken with the seriousness, with all the seriousness that it deserves. So for me to have a safe emergency fund that is accessible in that time of need, then a money market fund, in my opinion, is still worth going for. Your emergency fund not only accumulates returns, but it still offers you security and accessibility of your funds. Inflation is number 3, another reason why you should have a money market fund account. You see, it's unfortunate that many of us do not take this issue seriously and think that the value of your money remains the same as you go along with our financial journeys and with our lives. The truth is that your money is losing value every day. And not just your money alone, but money in general. If you had 100k, for example, 20 years ago, that could do so many things that 100k cannot do right now. And therefore, you should also be aware that 20 years from now, your 100k will not achieve what it can achieve right now. Perhaps 100k is what we will be going to a supermarket, and do grocery shopping, a few things here and there when that time comes. I hope not, but you never know, you see. So this is one of the big factors that need to be considered when you're putting your money anywhere in any investment. Ensure that the interest that you get is above the inflation rate. That is why I keep updating you from time to time. As at right now is 3.6, and some of the least returns that we're getting are 7.6%. Do you need rocket science to see that your money is preserving its value and of course gaining a little bit more value on top of it? Anyway, moving on, liquidity is another reason why many open their money market fund accounts. Liquidity simply means that you can actually access your money easily. You can convert it to cash. There are several investment options which are not liquid, and one of them is real estate or fixed deposit accounts. Yes, they're not as liquid as we think they are. So this does not mean that they do not have a place in our investment journeys, or that we should not even consider these other options. But in terms of turning that investment to cash quickly, MMF still stands as one of the most viable solutions. So each and every day, your money gains something on top of it. And that day that you can access it, you can take it, including all the earned interest without being penalized or any penalty. So is this still viable? Yes, please. Moving on to the next point. In this investment journey, not everyone is a big risk taker. And at times, it is good to accept everyone as they are, and not to compare with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. For example, some have the luxury of time. Yeah, they have the luxury to make mistakes and still get out of them. But there are some of us who do not have that luxury of time or the luxury to do trial and error. And that is where a certain word comes into play when we want to put our money somewhere. Does that investment come with some level of capital preservation? Hey, this basically means that does it come with the comfort that at least what I deposited will be available in case of any downturns in the market? This is where again I talk about a risk being present in every investment option. In other words, there is no investment that comes with zero risk. Yeah, like ati hakuna risk kabisa, but the risk profile does vary from one investment to the other. If I could draw a line like that, a risk line whereby I start with the low risk from this end to high risk on the other end. We will have different investment fall at different positions in this line. Some will definitely be very high risk and others will be low risk. Some of the high return investment options do not have a lower risk profile like the money market fund does. So over a period of 20 plus years, we can confidently say that the money market funds have consistently preserved the invested capital. This is not to say that money market funds are the only option, don't get me wrong, that has capital preservation, because we have the normal savings accounts which also have capital preservation, and the fixed deposits, they also give you that, even the SACCO savings and real estate. But for those who will consider the money market fund, then yes, you can rest easy knowing that your capital is going to be preserved. And for those who have some huge amount of cash or a lump sum amount somewhere, probably from a loan, or you sold off an asset, or have a matured investment, or are moving money from project A to project B, all these have something in common. They need something we call a safe parking zone for their money. They all need somewhere where they can have their money safe and again are able to access it in the shortest time possible without losing that value or suffering any penalties whatsoever. This place can only be the money market funds. And for someone in that state, this is still a viable place to keep your money. You are a businessman and you receive money randomly and you want it parked somewhere safely before you need it to pay suppliers or bills. A money market fund account is a place where you can consider doing that, and whether the interests have gone up or down, it still offers you that ability. And last but not least, let us compare it with the available options in the market. So when it comes to treasury bonds, for example, we are seeing bonds that are coming out at an average of 11 to 13%, and a few of those bonds have more than 13%. But then this is the same average that we are getting from the money market funds without the limit of 50K to get started, lack of liquidity, and the hassle of bidding through the DOE CSD. The next option that we can compare it with is the treasury bills, and from my weekly reviews, you have already seen that the treasury bills are currently returning a single digit return, which is as low as 8%. And on top of that, you need the minimum 50K and a fixed term, which ranges from 3 months, 6 months, and the 1 year options. So technically, you are currently getting less in treasury bills than you are getting from the money market funds currently. And if we consider the next option, that is the rates, last year VUCA returned a 7% interest or dividend, whichever you may like to call it. That is still lower than what the money market funds gave you then and are giving you right now. And according to the real estate report, the average return for those with rental businesses such as apartments, commercial spaces, and the likes. Yeah, the average return for Nairobi alone was between 4 to 8%, notwithstanding the very high capital requirement to get into that business. Then we have the balance funds and the equity funds that returned crazy high returns last year. Some of them actually went all the way up to 40+%. Yes, so if you know one of them, you can go ahead and request for an update of how things are going year to date right now. Most of them are at below 5% and even as low as -7%. Allow me not to mention names today, sawa. So is that above the money market funds fallen rate? I know this is a paper loss when referring to this kind of funds, but then if I had to cash out at this point, I have an emergency, I will definitely walk away with a loss. Now, let's compare that with the very well performing special funds. And in this case, we are looking or talking about Mansa X and Oak Special Fund. These are some of the available options that you can consider under the special funds because they meet most of the features of a money market fund account, even though their entry level is slightly higher than many of us can afford. But if you can afford a minimum, or rather you have a minimum of about 250k right now, for the case of Mansa X, for example, I would not definitely compare it with the money market fund because up until now, it has already returned a year to date of 19% plus per annum. Yes, which is very good and like twice or almost thrice what some of the money market funds are giving right now. And that is why I told you in my last video that I have made arrangements. Yes, I've had to make arrangements for my audience to get smooth assistance in signing up to this Mansa X. As long as you already have the required minimum amount here, 250k, you are good to get started. You see, Mansa X has been categorized as slightly higher risk than the money market funds because of course, the nature of where they invest. But for the last 5 years, they have consistently returned a competitive return of above 16% each year. I have done videos with deep reviews on this Mansa X, so you can check out the links in the description below. When ready, use the link that I have provided or share it with someone to get started. I have a professional team on standby that helps you to start from scratch, answer your questions, and even help you sign up and start the journey. So as an option, this one is viable and it beats money market fund as we are at the moment. And now in conclusion, yes, the money market funds rates have dropped, but the main thing has not changed. The averages are still doing very good. Are the other options not good? No. A vehicle you choose for investment depends on the goal that you have in mind. So please find all the useful links below and on the bio, depending on where you're watching this video from. For any questions or any video that you'd like to see on this channel, leave it in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video.